I remember the door closing and the engine starting up, and all of a sudden, this fresh, cold air started coming through the cabin, which we really, really needed because it was so hot. So we took off. Our itinerary was to go to Clark, refuel, and then on to Travis Air Force Base, California, where President Ford was going to meet us and welcome the first orphans to America. So we took off. 15 minutes into the flight, normally when we fly over a combat zone, we usually cruise at an altitude between 35,000 and 50,000 feet. 15 minutes into the flight, normally when we fly over a combat zone, we usually cruise at an altitude between 35,000 and 50,000 feet. So we had taken off. We got up to about 25,000 feet, close to it, and suddenly this loud explosion happened, or this loud noise, boom, happened. And I looked back, and I saw the rear cargo doors and ramp rip off the aircraft, and we were at 23,000 plus feet. And I remember seeing the sky, blue sky, the white clouds, and the cold air. And everything that we had placed in the rear of the aircraft or aft of the aircraft went out with the doors. And I remember hearing the screaming and yelling. And a lot of fog in the air. I remember being thrown about. I'm not sure if I grabbed the cargo tie-down strap or not, but I got to the point where I tried to breathe and I couldn't breathe. And at that point, we were in what they call a rapid decompression. So all the oxygen in the cabin had left out the cabin when the doors went out. So at 20-some thousand feet, we didn't have anything to breathe. I remember seeing bodies sucked out. I remember the coldness, and at that point, I knew it was abnormal to see the sky. At that point, I tried to stay focused, because I never thought I was going to die. I didn't have time to think about that, but the screaming and the yelling and the fear around me was saying otherwise. So therefore, I didn't have time to be afraid, because I was unable to breathe. I tried to breathe, but I couldn't breathe. Well, the pilot, what he did, he tried to turn the aircraft around and go back to the base at Tonsanute Air Force Base, Saigon. And when the doors blew off, that broke the hydraulic system that was a part of the aircraft. So the pilot had trouble maneuvering the aircraft. So what he did, he would descend down and try to pull the aircraft up to break its descent, the speed of descent. He would go down and pull it up. So we got to the point where we were over the South China Sea when the doors blew off, by the way. So instead of crash landing in the South China Sea, he tried to make it back to the base. And he realized that he wasn't going to make it. He was able to get to the rice paddies, and he clipped this tree line, and he ended up bellowing down after clipping the tree line. And we had the Saigon River. He ended up bellowing down on one side of the Saigon River, and we went airborne again. And we just barely cleared the other side of the river. And the aircraft bounced and broke apart. And keep in mind that when we bellied down, we had a belly full of passengers. And of course, I was down there myself. And the crew compartment, which was upstairs. Now the C-5, from the wheel to tail, is a 5-story aircraft. So we belly down, the whole bottom just demolished, just flat, and debris was scattered for miles. And the true compartment where the babies were, that part slid off the belly of the cargo section like a toboggan. It slides off, it broke away, and it rolled over and kind of slid off. So we only lost 2 kids in the true compartment. But in the cargo compartment, we lost everybody. I found out later that I was the only survivor out of nearly 200 out of that cargo section. Air America, which is an arm of the CIA, they cordoned off the crash site. As soon as the plane crashed, the local villagers just raced to the crash site, just pillaging the crash site, just taking whatever they could. The CIA saw me off to a distance in the burning wreckage, and my uniform was a white shirt with dress blue trousers. So they saw my white shirt off to a distance and said, wow, we gotta save the medic's body so it won't burn. So once they got to me, they found me hanging upside down, my left leg entangled in wire cable, and my head was open, my eyeball hanging out, my chest. They said, well, we better save his body so it won't charge. So they got to untangling me, and then they said, wow, this dude's still alive.